Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Vimms Lair, and Vimms Lair has been hit with yet another DMCA, or possibly multiple DMCAs. So here's the latest rate from Vim. Vimms Lair has been asked to remove many games from the vault on behalf of Nintendo, Sega, Lego, and the ESA. While most of these games and the hardware to play them haven't been sold in decades, ultimately it's their prerogative, so these games are now gone for good. And speaking about DMCAs, next up we're talking about Gambanana, and it appears that Gambanana has been hit with a DMCA from Nintendo. So according to Nano on Twitter, approximately 30 Smash Ultimate mods got DMCA'd on Gambanana today. The DMCA notice is legitimate. They hit a lot of Metroid and Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom styled mods, as well as some other random popular mods that used Nintendo IP. None of my stuff got hit yet, but other super popular skins did. Now taking a quick peek at Tears of the Kingdom on Gambanana, and it appears that there are still a lot of mods available, but who knows how long they'll be available for. Moving on, and we're still talking about Nintendo, and still talking about DMCAs. And it appears that Nintendo has DMCA'd about 127 repositories on GitHub that were tutorials showing people how to dump their own Switch keys. I'll drop a link to this article in the description below. Apparently these repositories were in violation of DMCA's anti-circumvention provision, basically providing users with prod.keys. I mean, the quote is right here. The reported repositories offer and provide access to unauthorized copies of cryptographic keys that are used to circumvent Nintendo's technological measures and infringe Nintendo's intellectual property rights. Specifically, the reported repositories provide to users unauthorized copies of cryptographic keys, prod.keys, extracted from the Nintendo Switch firmware. Furthermore, the reported repositories attempt to evade detection of their illegal activities via encoded links that direct users to third-party websites to download the infringing content. The repositories provide strings of letters and numbers and then instruct users to decode the lines of strings. The decoded links take these users to sites where they can access the prod.keys and unauthorized copies of Nintendo's copyright-protected material. I'm assuming they mean Base 64. In addition to the torrent freak article, I'll drop a link to the actual DMCA in the description below and feel free to check it out. Next up, we're quickly talking about a brand new ROM hack over on romhacking.net. It's called Arcana Seal of Rimsala, and this is a JRPG for the SNES that just got a brand new patch. They say after 2 years, Arcana Seal of Rimsala is back. Version 3.0 features a new full English translation. Emphasis was made on a clear descriptive localization that flows well while keeping the spirit of the original. In addition, this version received a major design overhaul. The previous version's gimmicks, puns, and fourth wall breaks were scrapped for a more professional, polished experience. On top of that, there's an improved map with symbols for doors, treasure chests, and more. Faster gameplay with anti-frustration features galore. A new status screen with icons and damage bonuses, Easter eggs, and bug fixes. If you are interested in this one and wanted to learn more about it, hits up on romhacking.net and I'll drop a link in the description below. Next up, we're quickly talking about the upcoming Xbox Showcase, and it's rumored that this showcase is going to be over 2 hours long with 30 games. And during this showcase, it's also being reported that Xbox is going to unveil their brand new gaming handheld, their long-rumored gaming handheld. However, it is by someone who calls themselves an Xbox fake insider. Now that YouTuber is a well-known leaker, so I'm curious to see if this ends up being clickbait or something real. Let me know your thoughts about an Xbox handheld in the comments below. Would you be interested in it? Do you think it's just going to be for cloud gaming, or do you think games are going to run on the hardware? Next up, we're quickly talking about PlayStation. In yesterday's video, we talked about Octopath Traveler 2's possible release date on the Xbox. And in today's video, if you've got a PS4 or PS5, you might be excited to know that Octopath Traveler appears to be heading to those systems. Next up, we're quickly talking about some Linux stuff, and we'll start out by talking about security-focused Linux distribution Parrot OS. and Parrot version 6.1 just released. With this new version, there's a whole bunch of updates to a whole bunch of hacking tools, and there's something very big here for Raspberry Pi users. They've added Raspberry Pi 5 support. And secondly, speaking about security-focused Linux distributions, next up we're talking about Kali Linux. And Kali has just released 2024.2. So this latest version of Kali brings about some updates to their desktop environments, including introducing GNOME 46 and updates to XFCE. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of brand new tools. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. Next up, we're quickly talking about Hogwarts Legacy on Steam. According to their Steam page, this game just received a small update. The update size is a whopping 55 gigabytes. So on top of a whole bunch of gameplay tweaks and bug fixes, this patch finally unlocks the Haunted Shop mission, which was previously exclusive to PlayStation. It also adds new never-before-seen cosmetic items, a new photo mode, and the ability to reset talent points. Hogwarts Legacy is currently 50% off on Steam, so it may be worth checking out. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. And speaking about gaming on PC, next up we're quickly talking about The Last of Us 2, the PC port of the game. Apparently, and this may be mistranslated, but the game was finished development in November of 2023. I'll drop a link to the article in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. They're speculating it's going to release alongside the next season of the TV show, which may be in 2025. I find it very weird that the game is already done and they're just possibly holding on to it. And continuing to talk about PC gaming, next up we're talking about Bioshock 2. And there's a brand new HD texture pack that just released that makes this game look real good. Based on the description, there's over 3,500 upscale textures and the mod size is over 10 gigabytes. If you're curious about this one, I'll drop a link to the Nexus mod page in the description below and feel free to check it out. Moving on, and we're talking about DMCAs again, and this time with TeknoParrot and Taito. And TeknoParrot says, "We are disappointed to report that Taito has issued another DMCA notice, this time against our simple wiki page. Previously, they tried to take down our Azure servers. In response, we are transitioning to self-hosting outside of the USA, where there are no ridiculous DMCA laws to ensure the integrity of our work." And taking a quick peek, and yes, it appears it was taken down, and I'm wondering if it was because images were used, or I don't know what's going on there. I know that TeknoParrot does charge for certain aspects of their service, which may not sit well with some people. Moving on, and we're talking about the Atari, and a long-lost Tarzan Atari game has been preserved, and the article is up over on the Video Game History Foundation. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. In my opinion, the article is very well written. It tells a very interesting story and how the game was preserved. On top of that, the game has been dumped and made available online. I'll drop a link to a gameplay video in the description below and feel free to check it out. I think this is a massive win for game preservation. Next up, we're talking about Pokemon, and the fan-made Pokemon Mythic Silver Beta has released. They say this is the second ever HD engine hack. They say here, examples of new features are automatic trick room battles, randomized leads, custom opponent Pokemon nicknames, enemy shrines, dynamic speed calculations, and a whole bunch more. And they say there's a completely brand new region, story, and objective. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to the Reddit story in the description below and feel free to give it a read. Moving on, and we're quickly talking about PS2 emulation on Android with AetherSX2, or rather the patch to AetherSX2 NetherSX2. And NetherSX2 just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 1.9 is the latest update, and there's been a whole bunch of stuff done to this one. A bunch of controller DB changes, so a whole bunch more controllers should work with this emulator. A bunch of game DB changes, so settings for games should be correct right out of the gate, and a whole bunch of games. Additionally, the cover downloader now comes with a default URL list already entered to make grabbing the covers much easier. They've updated the widescreen and no interlacing patches to be more in line with PCSX2. And the FPS control setting is now integrated into the emulator. NetherSX2 is a 100% free and open source patch to AetherSX2 to try to continue development after Talworth stopped. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.